All right, so today we're going to be overhauling a ZF8HP70 valve body. I had this valve body here for quite some time because the separator plate, which finally became available, had a hard time getting it. The gentleman that I overhaul these transmissions for called me the other day and said he finally has the plate, and he's had it shipped directly here, along with I got a couple of the pan/filters, and apparently there's more than one plate. So I went through them, and to know if you have the right plate, there's actually a code. All right, this says B048, and if you look on the valve body, this plate also says B048. So we got the right one. From what I understand, or from what he had told me, there's possibly 3 different ones. So this is the first one that I opened up. I looked at the code and it was correct, so I didn't open up the other one yet. And I'm just gonna put that aside because I think he actually may have another one for me to do. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'll get a little closer. We're gonna start by taking the sub-harness off for the park lock solenoid. We're gonna take the Mechatronic unit off, which is the speed sensors, the TCM, temp sensor. And then we're going to split the valve body in half, and I want to leave the plate with the lower half of the valve body so the check walls and dampers and stuff like that don't fall out. All right, so I'm going to get a little closer, and we're going to start breaking this valve body down. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is the pump outlet sleeve. This will come right out. Okay, this is the inlet. You gotta break the 2 halves apart before that'll come out. All right, so I'm gonna unplug this park lock solenoid here. I'm just gonna bend the tab up a little bit, and that comes right out. Okay, that's unplugged. The other side of that harness, there is another little tab. Okay, I'm gonna push that down, and that comes right out as well. Okay. Now we're going to remove the sub-harness. All right, there's my T30 on here, 3 bolts. And this will come off. There we go. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the bolts out that hold the Mechatronic unit on. I believe there's 6 of them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. All right, let's try that. They're all longer. You know, the bolts are longer than the regular valve body bolts. So I think that may have been 5. All right, so let's see if this comes off. Very, very careful. Don't want to force anything. Okay. All right, just had somebody picking a car up, but I am back. And we had all the bolts, the 5 bolts out, and now again we're removing the Mechatronic unit here. Okay, there we go. Okay, put that aside. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take all our bolts out and separate the 2 halves. So again, I got my T30. And you want to keep the plate. You want to keep the plate with the bottom half, you know, with the this section. The lower half, as it's laying on the bench of the valve body, because that's where all the check balls and dampers and stuff are, so I really don't want to have anything fall out. So I probably have some information if it did fall out. There is a manual put out by ATSG on this trans. Okay, now we want to separate, and again, leave the separator plate. Okay, let's see. Let's stick on this thing. See if I can just get it loose a little bit. Okay. This thing. Okay, I think we got it there. This plate off here, and I'm just going to flip it over just in case anything is stuck. So I'm going to go straight up and flip it. Okay. All right, that looks okay. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dampers. We got springs and valves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those, and then we have check balls, and then we have the main suction sleeve. Okay, let me just move this stuff aside, and I want to mark everything here. I'll give you a shot of all this stuff, and I want to see how the sleeve comes out. It looks like it has to be turned, and then it'll come out. Turning. Okay. All right, so just give me a few minutes and I will be right back. All right, so I have the dampers out here of the valve body ready. I just pulled it to the end, and there's a small hole underneath, and I used one of my scribes here to push it up, and I took the dampers out, but they're all lined up on the bottom here. All right, so now we're going to take out the springs, valves, check balls. There's a couple of screens in here. All right, so we're going to do that now. Here is the pump suction sleeve. This actually will just lift right out once the valve body is apart. And there's this slot right here. All right, if you can see that, this slot right here has lined up with a slot in the valve body. I'll give you guys a shot once the valve body is clean, and I'll give you a shot right on the valve body and show you that. All right, so that is there. All right, so now we're going to start taking these relief valves and springs out. Okay, this one here is on some models. Okay, this is for line pressure. Also, if you have that HIS pump, that hydraulic impulse storage. And again, the notes that I was reading, this is on some models. This actually is a one-way check valve. Okay. So it says these bolts over. Use another check valve and spring. And then we have the filter. We have another filter here. Okay. So check balls, there are 7 of them. There is a spot where it looks like it takes a check ball right here, but it does not. I'm going to show you that as well. Okay. Whoops. There's 2. Here's 1, 3. 6 and 7. Okay, a couple of relief check valves here. All right, and I think that is it. So what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm going to flat sand this. Make sure all these retainers stay in place. I'm going to flat sand it, clean it up. And I'll be use my bottle here when I get this nice and clean. This one, transmission actually was done a couple of times. It kept coming back with the B2 clutch burnt out. I'm not really sure what the deal was, how it was when it first was done, if it had the problem, if the clutch kept burning out, but from what I understand, some parts, converter and things, you know, were used over again. I'm not even sure this valve body was open. So I went through the unit, replaced the B2 clutch, everything air checked perfect. So now we're doing the valve body, going to put the pan on and button it up and I guess go from there. And I got to just make sure that whatever converter is going to be used is going to be a rebuild converter, which should be done anyway. I don't know why they're putting the old stuff back. Okay, so I'm going to clean this stuff up. And I'm going to flat sand both halves, clean them up, and I'll be back with you shortly. I'm also going to clean up this Mechatronic unit because this thing got all dirty too from the fluid being bad, so I want to clean this up and let it dry. So I will be back with you shortly. Okay, so I've got it all cleaned up and the valves that are in here are free. So the first thing I want to do is put my pump suction sleeve back in. All right, and it has some stops on it. And I also changed the O-ring. There's one O-ring you can change that sticks out, and the other O-ring you can only change splitting the halves apart. And again, this is lined up here with the valve body, this opening. All right, but I'll give you a better shot of that. All right, now I'm going to put the dampers in. I put the new rubber pieces in. He actually brought me a set of them, you know, new, but I tried them and they actually do not fit. They don't fit, so I can't use them. Okay, I like these. They drop right in, very nice. These didn't look too bad. They weren't really flattened out like what we normally see, but again, part of the rebuild procedure, we put new ones in. All right, now we're going to start up here. And the one-way relief valve. Push that down, it's got to go over a little bump there, the spring, okay? And we have a check ball. Okay, the 7 check balls are in place. Got another valve here. Another one here. Now up in this section, we got one here. Okay, small filter. Make sure that screen is clean. And this screen also. Actually, I just want to rinse these. Give me one second. Because this was pretty bad from these B clutch going bad. Okay. Let me just blow these things out real quick. They don't look too bad, but I like to do it. Okay. And the screen here. All right, so those are all the contents here. And now we have to put the, well, first let me give you a close-up shot of this. I'm going to put the plate on and put the other valve body half on. All right, so let me just reposition and give me 1 second. Okay, so here is the pump sleeve and it's lined up with this slot, the valve body right here. There is no check ball that goes here. All right, from the information that I looked in the ATSG manual, there's just an X in this section. So, you know, check ball did go there. They may say some models, but it does not say that. This one-way valve here, the saying is some models, but these are all your relief valves and check balls. Again, you got 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, all your dampers are down here, and your filters, and the rest of your relief valves and the pump suction. So again, new O-ring on there. All right, so let me reposition. I'm going to get the other half of valve body, make sure all those valves are free, and then we're going to go ahead and put this back together. Okay, so we're going to put the halves together now. This could get a little tricky because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these valves sticking up, which is going to keep the plate pretty far away from the casting. All right, so, and also you got to make sure the sleeve is lined up from here, and here is the number that I went by, this B048. All right, so we're going to set this thing on. Okay, let's set this on. All right, as you can see, it's pretty far up. So I want to push this down. I'm going to turn this a little bit this way so I can keep pressure on it. And hopefully everything will fall in place. I push on these little valves to make sure they are not cocked in the bore and everything is good. Okay. And again, the sleeve is lined up. All right, so I'm going to keep pressure holding this down, and the part of the valve body that is open through a little cut here is the number, so you can see the number. So I'm going to keep pressure here, and then I'm going to slide my thumb back so it'll end up here by the time the valve body is on. And then you want to make sure, you know, the plate and everything is lined up. But everything looks good. All right, so I'm going to turn this. Okay. Set it on. Okay. That looks good. Okay, everything appears to be lined up. Yeah, that bolt's going in good, no problem. Okay, so we're good. All right, now I'm going to turn this over. Actually, what I want to do is leave these just a little hand loose. All right, now I want to get the TCM. I want to put the TCM on because they have like the line-up pin, so it'll really be lined up good. Then we'll flip it over. Won't leave it on this stand anymore, but I'll put it on the bench, and then we can continue to put the bolts in. Just want to make sure that everything is lined up. All right, so let me just grab that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the Mechatronic. All right, so this is going to go here and here. And I just have those other bolts hand tight. Okay, all right, good. Very nice. Okay, that went right down. Perfect. Okay. This way. All right, so now we've got to put all these bolts back in. I'm going to put the hold the computer in. I remember where they go. we go. Okay, all right, so what I'm gonna do is just finish putting the rest of the bolts in, and then we're gonna put the harness back on, put the little sleeve back in, and torque the bolts down, and we'll be done. All right, so let me just finish that up, and I will be right back. Okay, so before we torque all the bolts down to 70 inch-pounds, that is the spec, we're gonna put our harness back for the park lock solenoid. Okay, so we'll tilt that up, plug that in, bring the wires back here. Okay, now, got a little part of this harness here that covers the cylinder or the piston. So you want to make sure the piston is straight. And because when you put this on and tighten the bolts down, if the piston is crooked or the rod is crooked, it's going to jam it. Okay, so let's put the bolts in. We'll make sure that moves freely. Good. Okay, now we're going to plug this in. Okay, everything's in place here. All right, I'm going to torque these down actually in a few minutes because I have to just get done with this video. All right, the last thing we have is the other suction sleeve for the output. And that is going to go in there. It does have new O-rings on it. And that is it for the ZF8HP70 valve body overhaul. Okay, again, I'm just going to torque these down 70 inch-pounds, but I actually have to run out. Here is the new pan that I got. New pan comes with a new set of bolts. All right, so I can complete this unit now. I thank you guys for watching the video on the valve body overhaul 8HP70. Have a great day, and we'll see you next one.